Welcome again to Ancient Tales for Today. Well, we've been looking at a very old book and some very old stories. Now we come to another lesson. Now, last time we were talking about a man named Moses who, fortunately, because of God's plan, was saved from being killed. And he grows up inside, eventually, after 8 years old, he eventually grows up in the palace of the king, Wang Gong. So today's lesson is number 43, from royal son, 从王子就变为杀人犯逃跑. Stay by for this interesting story.
Number 43, From Royal Son to Murderer on the Run. Moses grew up with many benefits as the adopted son of a royal princess in Egypt. He was taught all the subjects the Egyptians thought were important: leadership, military tactics, religion, history, foreign affairs, in fact, everything a royal prince should know. He had a very privileged life as part of the ruling class. But when Moses grew up, he wanted to stay in contact with his own people, the Hebrews. One day he saw one of the Egyptians beating a Hebrew. He looked around to make sure nobody was watching, and then he went and killed the Egyptian. He hid the man's body in the sand, thinking he would never be found out. But the very next day, when he was visiting his people again, he saw two Hebrew men fighting. "Why are you beating up one of your own people?" he asked the man who started the fight. "Who are you to judge us?" the man replied. "Are you going to kill me like you did the Egyptian?" Moses was horrified. It seemed everyone knew what he did. Sure enough, when the king of Egypt heard about it, he tried to have Moses killed. So Moses ran away from Egypt to a place called Midian. Moses went from being a royal son to a murderer on the run. We all make mistakes in life. As a result, we lose so much. Think of what Moses lost: his position, his possessions, his royal family, and friends. In fact, he lost everything except his life and the clothes he was wearing. He had to run away into exile. But he was not abandoned by heaven. Heaven was still with him. Even though he had committed a terrible crime, he was not totally lost. And there's hope for us too, as we will see in the rest of Moses' life.
Okay, we are in number 43, a royal son, 王子, royal son. That means he grew up in the palace of the king. He was the son. Now, remember, he was an adopted son. So today's lesson begins. Moses grew up with many benefits. 有很多特权啊. Of course, for the first 8 years, he was with his own mother. Then, from 8 years on, he had to go to the palace of the king. He had many benefits. He was the adopted son of a royal princess. Okay, royal princess means 公主. 公主 of Egypt, 埃及国的公主. but he was adopted, 被收养的了。He was taught all the subjects the Egyptians thought were important. 他是被教的啊，他在埃及的学校学什么科目呢？ Subjects 科目。The Egyptians thought were important. So, what did they consider to be important? Leadership, 领导. Of course, because maybe he would be the next king. Leadership, 领导. Military tactics. We know what strategy is. That's 策略. Okay, actually tactics is very similar to 策略. So we would say 军队的战略，打仗的战。Okay, so he had to study military tactics. Okay, he studied religion. Now, religion was very important to the Egyptians. Now, this is very strange because Moses kept his own religion, but he had to study the religion of the Egyptians. Okay, he also had to study history. And then foreign affairs. What's foreign affairs? 外交关系. Foreign affairs. In fact, he had to study everything that a royal prince should know. 那王子该学的他都学了. Okay, he had a very privileged life. Now, what does it mean to have a very privileged life? Means that he had a lot of, well, look at that first sentence. Moses grew up with many benefits. Okay, and now the fourth sentence, privileged life, same meaning. That's right. The benefits and the privileged life are both the same because he was part of the ruling class. Now, the ruling class, 统治人民的这群人啊. Okay, so he was part of the ruling class. Class meaning 阶级. Going on. But when Moses grew up, he wanted to stay in contact with his own people, the Hebrews. When Moses grew up, he wanted to stay in contact with. What does it mean to stay in contact with? Sometimes when you and I are together with friends, the last words we say, let's stay in contact. 保持联系. So Moses, when he grew up, still wanted to 保持联系, stay in contact with his own people, 他的民族, his own, 他自己的民族. And what is the name of his group? His group was called the Hebrews, 希伯来人. One day, he saw an Egyptian beating a Hebrew. Okay, now he's already grown up. He's a favored person. He's an important person. He's the son of the Pharaoh. But one day he saw an Egyptian, one of the Egyptians, 有一个埃及人 beating a Hebrew, 打一个希伯来人. Okay? So, what would you think? Well, maybe we can say his 老脾气, okay? Came up to the surface, he looked around to see if anybody was watching, okay, to make sure 确定没有人看. And then he went and he killed the Egyptian, 就杀了那个埃及人. He had hid the man's body in the sand, 把尸体在沙土里面这样藏起来. 当然他的思想 thinking that he would never be found out, 人人都不会知道. Going on. But the very next day, he was visiting his own people again. He was visiting his own, 还是去探访自己的人民. And he saw 2 Hebrews fighting. They are the same group. Why are you beating up one of your own people? 你为什么打自己的人? He asked the man who started the fight. 他就问那位开始打的那位. Okay? So, you can see what the situation now is. But we're going to take a break. And we usually take a break, and our next section is called Light on Our Path. And we're going to look at different parts of this very old book, the Ancient Tales, to see what other parts of the Bible say. So, stay by for Light on Our Path. And now for some light on our path. Lena,
はい。
let's take a look at Proverbs 16:25.
好，箴言的16章第25节。
Maybe we've used this before, but it's such a good text. I think we better use it again. Here's what it says. Proverbs 16:25. There is a way that seems right to a man, but the end is the way of death.
箴言16章25节说，有一条路，人以为正，至终成为死亡之路。
Okay, now we have a problem. Human beings have a problem because we are not patient,
对，不能忍耐
especially with time.
啊，时间。
Okay? And so, if we know that God wants to do something, then what? And He takes His time. I mean, He goes too slow.
对，有的时候我们等待觉得太难过了，很多时候就走在上帝的前边了，是不是？
Sure. And this was, of course, the problem with Moses.
对，摩西。
Because Moses, his mother told him who he was
嗯
and told him what his job would be
嗯，
and that he was a special son.
对对
But he decided that he would help God speed up the process.
对，他也是为了想快点把这件事做成，所以他就去用自己的力量去做这件事了啊。
And he killed a person, and then he had to run away.
要逃跑，要逃走。
Yeah. And of course, God used that, and we will maybe talk about that the next time. But for now, that's all we have for light on our path. Okay, so you got the picture now. Now we've got, first of all, he killed, this is Moses, killed an Egyptian. Okay? Now, the second time, there's two of these Hebrews, his own people, 他自己的人, and they're fighting, and he says, why are you fighting? Now, the man looked and replied to him, who are you to judge us? 你为什么要判我们呢？审判我们呢？ The man replied, are you going to kill me like you killed the Egyptian? Whoa. Whoa. Going on, Moses was horrified. 看起来好像 everyone knew what he did. 好像人人都知道他所做的事情。Sure enough. 果然不错. Sure enough. When the king of Egypt heard about it, when the king of Egypt heard about what he had done, he tried to have Moses killed. That simply means, that's a long ways, 绕了一圈呢. He tried to have Moses killed simply means he tried to kill Moses. Okay. So, if the most powerful king of the most powerful country is trying to kill you, what would you do? Well, you would run away, right? 你会逃跑. Moses ran away from Egypt. 摩西从埃及就逃跑. Where did he go to? He ran away to a country not too far away. The country's name was Midian. Midian. So, Moses went from being the royal son, this is our title, of course. Moses went from being the royal son, 从这个王子就变为 a murderer on the run, 杀人犯正在逃跑中 a murderer on the run. He had to run away. You know what? We all make mistakes in life. Let me see. How many out there have never made a mistake? Anybody willing to raise your hand and say, oh, I've never made a mistake? Yes, yes. We all make mistakes. Okay? This is the way it is. Sometimes we make a lot of mistakes. And as a result, we lose so much. 我们就会失去很多. Why? Because when we make mistakes, what happens? We reap the consequences. 我们得到这个一定的后果. We reap the consequences. Think of what Moses lost. 我们想一想摩西所失去的失掉的是什么? He lost his position. He lost his position. 他的地位已经没有了. He lost his possessions. His possessions 他含有的 okay 拥有的 okay his royal family he lost his royal family the family he grew up with okay the king's family and he lost his friends. Whoa. And this is just the consequences of making a mistake. 这个一定的后果. Go ahead. In fact, he lost everything except for his life. He lost everything. 他失去的是多少呢？ Everything 所有的 except 除了 his life 他的生命 and he didn't lose the clothes that he was wearing. Of course, the clothes 他所穿的衣服还在穿呢 In fact, we have a saying in English. It says he lost everything except for the clothes on his back. 这个我们的一个传说，他说他失去的一切的一切，除了他身体上的衣服。He lost. That means he lost everything, and he had to run away into exile. 他必须跑往这个流亡 exile. That means to live in a foreign country. To live in a foreign country, a safe place. But he was not abandoned by heaven. 天庭没有放弃他。Heaven was still with him. 天庭那就是神 was still with him. 还是与他同在。Even though he committed a terrible crime. 虽然他犯了一个非常可怕的一个罪 God was still with him. He was not totally lost. He was not lost. In other words, God was with him. 没有完完全全的we say, how do you say that? Well, anyway, lost. You know, somebody knew that he was still there, and that was, of course, God. And there's hope for us too. We have hope. And we will see in the rest of Moses' life how many good things really happened to him. Stay by to look at some words you need to know. Some words you need to know. In today's story, we came across two words actually. It was called privileged life.
就是说有特权的生活。
You said that nowadays they have even a newer term, almost same meaning.
对，特权阶级。
Okay, okay,
就
and
是意思说这是一个阶层的人，他们是有特权、特别的权利啊。
right, and of course, this is the story of Moses because he lived in the, what do you say, the palace.
皇宫他是王子，
That's
所以
right.
他有特权。
That's right. Okay, the next one is a very simple one, but it's very commonly used. To make sure.
确定、肯定。
Okay, to make sure. We want to make sure of everything. Then we go on to the next one, possessions.
拥有的。
Can you say possessions in English?
OK, possessions.
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 Good.
Okay.
Good. Okay. Possessions is 拥有的. What I have, my possessions, my whatever it is. This is my possession, my watch, my home, my car, my possessions. Okay, and then the last one is exile.
Exile
Good. Very good.
这个很难发音呢，艾老师。
Yeah, exile.
这个意思是说流亡，被放逐，被流亡了。
Okay. In this case, he had to go into exile for 40 years.
太长了，40年。
Yeah, 40 years. But those 40 years were a good teacher, and we will learn a little bit more about that a little later on. But for now, these are words you need to know. Hi. Well, we're back here. It's time to say goodbye. In this last lesson, we talked about, that was 43, from royal son to murderer on the run, and things that started so good ended up so bad. But we're not finished with the story. The story continues on, and it gets very, very interesting. Now, in our next lesson, we're going to talk about a burning bush. You know what a bush is? Guanmu. It's a little tree that was burning, but it did not 烧灭. The burning bush that did not burn up. You've got to come by and look at the next program. See you then.
That's all for today, and thanks for watching. If you like Ancient Tales for Today, please visit atft.chinesehope.tv. You may also contact us by writing to ancienttalesfortoday@gmail.com. Again, that's ancienttalesfortoday@gmail.com. Tell your friends about Ancient Tales for Today. See you next time.